Hi there, happy Tuesday. I'm just out here in my yard. I'm sort of a spur of the moment person. I video when I think of a story or something, you know. Right now I'm assessing my garden. Um, but connections, okay, we're going to talk about connections. Um, when you grow up with the family, as in Mafia, Cosa Nostra, you learn there's some things that you learn that become very handy. That become very handy. You are sort of wise to the world, very wise to the world. Um, Now, I've had chronic illness actually for over 32 years. And in the early days, I remember, so my father was alive, and I remember saying to my father, something's corrupt about this, because there were a lot of media isms in the news. Uh, the treatments were off label, so you had to pay cash. And there were only a handful of doctors that you could go to that could help you. So, and I was a registered nurse, actually. I was still working as a nurse at the time, although a few days a week. It was affecting my ability to work. So what my father said to me was, find out who's who on the inside, and then you'll know what's going on. I said, okay. Well, I learned quickly who the who's who on the inside was. And it brought me back to the years 1986 to 88, when I was a CCU nurse at New York Hospital. During that time, there were no AIDS units. And because they needed a ventilator bed, they had to take whatever ventilator beds were available when they came in through the ER. And so we were sort of part frontline aides. And these were all types of patients, not what you heard in the news. And we were talking about, during that time, the rumor was that the Mafia doctors were running AIDS. Well, that got my attention. I thought, So I realized this same connection was applied to the chronic illness community. And I thought, very interesting. And so I've learned through the years to have connections to survive. When I saw COVID happening and was watching the news, the same thing, it was sort of the same playbook was being used that was being used for AIDS. And the same person in the ivory tower was saying no to the cheap and expensive drugs. Now, there was a couple of cheap and expensive drugs during AIDS that would have prevented most of those patients dying from that pneumonia they died from. But that person in the ivory tower said, no, I have to filter what I say because YouTube will take this off. So when I saw that it was the same playbook, well, I got some connections and I got in touch. The doctor I ended up getting in touch with was out in Wyoming somewhere. Somewhere out west. We did a telemed. I got my meds when I had the COVID and no problem since. So pays to have connections. Your connections will keep you from being a sitting duck. Have a good day.